All right, everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report. I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Okay, guys, let's go back out to my home state, California. I call it the once golden state, California. And check on to see what's going on out there. Now, the governor is claiming that the state is broke, when as recently as last year, he had over $21 billion in the bank. So what happened to Gavin's money? What are these people doing with all this money? And why is California on the brink of financial collapse? Now, I'm going to go through like 3 articles, and then I'm going to show you a clip. I'm going to try and do this as fast as possible. But anyway, Newsom says California went from surplus to tens of billions of dollars in deficit in weeks. Won't get by without federal help. Now, I don't know whether Gavin did this out of incompetence or whether he did this on purpose. I still haven't figured that part out. But I know one thing. He destroyed these people very quickly. Newsom says California went from surplus to tens of billions of dollars in weeks. Won't get by without federal help. Gavin Newsom says the nation's most populous state has flipped from tens of billions of dollars in surplus to deficits over the course of weeks. I'm going to show you how they did this. California was warned about this. Last year, I did a May revise with a $21.4 billion surplus. They had $21 billion in the bank last year. Newsom said on Friday during the daily coronavirus briefings. This year, I will be doing a May revise looking at tens of billions of dollars in deficit. We just went from tens of billions of dollars in surplus in just weeks to deficits. This is what they're telling us. With 30 million people unemployed claims filed since the coronavirus pandemic resulted in the shutdown of broad swaths of the economy, states are reporting that they'll need at least $1 trillion in aid from the federal government. Okay? Now let me show you this. Let me show you what else he's already done. He can't even pay his unemployment people. Gavin Newsom has no cash. California becomes the first state to borrow from the U.S. to make unemployment payments. They're already broke. I don't know what he did with all this money. We're going to figure this out, though. California has become the first state to borrow from the federal government so it can continue paying out rising claims from unemployment benefits during the coronavirus pandemic. The Golden State borrowed $348 million in federal funds after receiving approval to tap up to $10 billion for this purpose through the end of July. Okay? They're already borrowing money. How did that happen? Let me show you where all these people's money went. Here's where it went. This is a 2-year article. People have been warned in California that the day would come when all that money that you gave to those illegal aliens, you'll be looking for it. And that day is now here. This is 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, February 2017. Illegal immigration cost California $30 billion a year. 17.7% of the state budget was being paid to people who were in the country illegally. And they just gave them some stimulus money, or want to give them some stimulus money, as I should say. I'm going to show you a clip on that. Illegal immigrants and their children cost the state of California a net of $30.29 billion per year. This equates to $7,352 per illegal alien, or roughly 17.7% of California's state budget. Okay? And now they're looking for Trump to come bail them out. If I was Trump, I wouldn't give these people one dime. Here's what they were just saying about the illegal aliens just recently.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chuck. California, of course, the first state in the nation to announce a disaster relief fund that is specifically for undocumented immigrants. Now, $75 million of the fund will come from state taxpayers. $50 million will be donated from philanthropists. Now, this week, the state is reaching out to some trusted community organizations that have a long history with working with the immigrant population here to determine which groups are in the best position to distribute that money. 10% of California's workforce is made up of undocumented immigrants, and many of them are in jobs considered essential during the pandemic: manufacturing, child and elderly care, construction, and agriculture and food distribution.
We feel a deep sense of gratitude for people that are in fear of deportation, but are still addressing the essential needs of tens of millions of Californians.
Only about 150,000 of the state's 2.2 million undocumented workers will benefit from the aid, getting a one-time payment of $500 per person with a cap of $1,000 per household.
It's for the undocumented, but that's not enough. The next piece is, have you been negatively impacted economically because of the COVID-19?
Angelica Salas is the executive director of CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. She says if selected, CHIRLA would likely coordinate with a statewide website or hotline number for people to register for the aid, and those eligible would likely be given debit cards with the money deposited on them, or checks might be mailed. A similar program was put in place after California's wildfires. Critics argue people who've broken immigration laws should not be rewarded, but those who support the plan say California's undocumented workers pay $2.5 billion in local and state taxes, and they spend the majority of their $34 billion in earnings at California businesses, yet they remain in the shadows in fear of being deported even during a pandemic.
Many times, they've struggled in many recessions and many situations, and when they've lost jobs, they don't have access to unemployment insurance, they don't have access to this, and many times, they go without in order to be safe.
Now, the state's expected to announce next month which of those community groups will be chosen to distribute that money. They're going to work with them to keep identities private to avoid deportation. We'll keep you posted when that program is up and running.
Okay, guys, that's what happened to California. Okay, these people stood around for years and watched their state, 20% of their state budget be handed to people who were in the country illegally. Now they're looking for Trump to come bail them out. If I was Trump, I would not give these people one dime.